Good evening and welcome to my end of the week recap video here for the S&P 500 and plan ahead for next week. Thursday on the gap up did close me out of these 287 calls here at an average of 525. Very nice trade right there. Still holding those November 320s and June 325s, both for different purposes. We'll see what happens with them. What I'm looking for as far as opening a new play next week, tests of support. First of all, at the 8 EMA, this blue line, 292 calls 2 weeks in the future. 21 EMA, 290 calls 2 weeks in the future. The red line down here, the 50 SMA, look for 286 calls 4 weeks in the future. And 200 SMA way down here, 275 calls 4 weeks in the future. So as you can see, per my plan, my strategies, and how I trade, plenty of supports remain below price action. So nothing is going to scare me out of being bullish. For now, I'm going to remain that way and take trades as such. Real quick over here, I want to touch on higher time frame charts here. As I mentioned before, this is a very strong breakout type of pattern. It has a measure move up to about 330, 340. We'll see what happens if that does confirm. What's really important here is we've broken above all-time highs, closed above it on for 1 month at least. We're now still trying to close above it, still green in the month, and put in an indecision bar at this point. So still above this prior all-time high, which is 286.63, which also coincides with where the 50 SMA will probably come up to next week. So that level probably will come into play and see what happens. As I work my way down here to the weekly time frame, it's easier to see we've consolidated above these prior highs. Close above at week 1, retest week 2, week 3, strong hammer move up, and this week, extreme amount of volume, at least in relation to what has been going on. Options expiration day, it's kind of to be expected. So just to put in a high volume indecision candle for the week. What does that mean? To me, it means chop. On the daily time frame, I'll get to the futures in a minute, but on daily time frame, we did put in an inside bar, which could potentially be a reversal type of pattern. If you zoom back over here, pretty much exactly what happened the last time we had a new all-time high. If we gap down and start to sell off and look something like this, it's just time to sit and wait. I will patiently wait for my levels of support down here and take my calls in the meantime. So still nothing overly bearish with the S&P 500. It is a potential bearish pattern to be aware of, and volume does confirm there's participation. So if price action breaks above, we're still in for another leg higher. If it breaks below and fails to maintain above this lower consolidation, we're going to come back down to the next lower significant level of support. So this is my trade plan and what I'm looking at for the S&P 500. Now I also want to pull up the futures here because the daily candlestick is not quite the same as the S&P 500. We had a nice huge push up here Thursday. Friday, we put in an inverted red hammer. Decent amount of volume, and it looks like it could be strong, much more strongly inclined to have a pullback. So definitely worth keeping in mind, and for that reason, I'm not going to be going too heavy in some of these trades, but I'm going to continue to trade my supports. Just like the S&P 500 futures here, still very similar setup, just the daily candle was a little bit different. Weekly, still looking strong, just a little bit of an indecision pattern, and the daily. So it does look like we're in for a little bit of a pullback, which is absolutely perfectly fine with me. Maybe retest back to these breakout levels and rally for another high. If we do get some huge flash crash, I have my plans, I have my plays down below, and we'll wait and see what happens. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Have a good weekend and good luck.